you all please rise and honor our nation's flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway?
Here.
Mr. Gignac?
Here.
Mr. Leary?
Here.
Ms. Martin? Mayor Murphy?
Here.
Ms. Ross Sikowicz?
Here.
Ms. Scott? Here. 7 present.
Thank you. Under special order of business, we have the introduction of Mr. Peter Holtz, the Bartlett Middle School principal, and Anna Vasconcelos, McAvenue Elementary School interim principal. Madam Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, I have the pleasure to introduce two principals, one new to our district, one who has been through the ranks. I'd like to introduce Mr. Peter Holtz. He's the principal of the Bartlett Community Partnership School, 18 years a teacher, 3 years in Newburyport as assistant principal, recently in Boston as a curriculum director, and the new principal of the Bartlett Community Partnership School. And I would welcome Peter forward to say a few words about your journey in Lowell.
Good evening, everyone. As Superintendent Franco said, I've been an educator for a long time, and I'm honored to be here as the principal of the Bartlett School. I walked in August and am getting to know a staff of committed educators who meet my #1 standard, which is they love kids. So I got a building full of about 550 wonderful children, grades pre-K through 8, all shapes and sizes, and all of them there to learn. Again, I'm new to the Lowell community, and since I don't know all of you yet, I would like to invite you, if you would like, to come do a tour of the school with me so that you can see some of the good things that are going on. I'm hoping that you will find our doors open and a place that you want to be as much as my kids do. So, there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Holtz.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Holtz. I just have a warning to all of you fine people that every time you go to the Bartlett Community Partnership School, be careful where you park because there are permits all around. And I have not been there without getting a ticket, so be careful where you park. I'm just telling you go, but don't be saddened after.
I'll tell you where to park.
And I now welcome Ms. Anna Vasconcelos. Anna is a Lowell educator, a teacher here for 24 years, 7 years central office working with the ELL students, 7 years assistant principal at the McAvenue School, and she is filling the role of the interim principal for us, and I'd like to welcome Anna to say a few words.
Thank you, and good evening. As you can see, I have a long history. I actually came to Lowell in 1969 when I was 10 years old from the Azores, and I've been here ever since. So I am totally committed to Lowell. I love Lowell. I love the kids here. My position as the interim assistant, actually principal, I was the assistant for a long time. I still call myself assistant many times. I am committed to doing whatever I need to do to make our school the place that it needs to be. To ensure that all students get what they deserve, an education that's sound, and also make sure that we're going to show growth this year, positive. We showed last year too, but more so this year. And I'm also committed to our parent community. I really think that without them we can't do a lot. I mean, we can do a lot, but we need them. We want them there. Like Mr. Holtz just said, our school is open, and it's open to our parents, and we encourage their involvement as much as possible. In addition to my commitment to the students and the parents, I'm also committed to our staff, and I'm there to support them, whatever they need to make their job easier and to help them make their plan for their instruction that's meaningful and purposeful, and that it's high standards for all our kids. So this is me, and I'm here for this year, and like I said, I'm a hard worker. There's nothing that, I'm not fearful of anything. I will do what I need to do. And that's all. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Vasconcelos.
You did that really well, actually.
Thank you again. Next, we have the minutes, approval of the minutes of regularly scheduled meeting of Wednesday, October 16th, 2013. Entertain a motion to accept and place on file, so moved by Ms. Rosikowicz, seconded by Ms. Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. We have also approval of minutes of the special meeting of the committee of Wednesday, October 30th, 2013. So moved by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Gignac. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have permission to enter. Permission to enter for November 6, 2013. Madam Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, to the Cambodian Mutual Assistance Association of Greater Lowell in the amount of $11,500 to provide the Adult Education Center with an on-site program for 50 foreign-speaking adults. Funding will be provided by the Adult Basic Education Grant, ABE. To the Lowell Transitional Living Center Incorporated in the amount of $9,000 to provide recruitment, counseling, and coordination for 15 homeless students to attend Adult Basic Education GED preparation classes. Funding provided by the Adult Basic Education Grant, ABE. The Teaching Strategies LLC in the amount of $38,106 to continue to provide teaching strategies, goals, assessment systems for staff training, online children's portfolio, and curriculum support as part of the district formative assessment system. Funding will be provided by the Alignment Grant and Higher Order Teacher Skills Grant. To the Accept Education Collaborative in the amount of $16,500 to provide round-trip transportation for one student from Framingham, Natick, Mass. to Dearborn Academy in Arlington, Massachusetts. Funding provided by the school department budget, special education transportation. To Safe Stones Masonry in the amount of $6,500 to rebuild a retaining wall that has fallen into disrepair adjacent to the modular classrooms at the Washington Elementary School. Funding will be provided by the MSBA Green Repair Program City Capital Improvement Budget.
Thank you. What's the wish of the committee? Mr. Leary.
Can you just give a brief explanation of the Framingham to Arlington transportation?
I do not know the particular case, and I will see if Ms. Durkin does know, but I would imagine that this is a student that falls under the auspices of homeless students. That's what I would say, where in fact, where a student is relocated, they will transfer it within, I think, an hour. And so that could very well be the case, Mr. Leary, but if you would like, I would look up the case and I can get that to the committee if you like.
If you could, just because, and maybe I need an education on it myself. So if they're homeless and they're living in... Okay. All right, well, something we need to talk about, I guess, in addition. That doesn't make much sense to me. I can see if they're, well, we can talk about it offline, or I think we should bring it up at a later date as well. That doesn't make any sense that they're living in Framingham and we're busing them to Arlington. I don't quite, and I'm sure it's an easy example, but maybe I have to go through it. Thank you.
Ms. Rosikowicz.
So under McKinney-Vento, students who are homeless are entitled to come back to the district of origin, and we provide the transportation. And I know in many cases we split that cost with the receiving district. But also, now, had I heard last year or this year that the state was actually reimbursing districts for transportation for homeless students?
There is, Ms. Secretary, a formula, but I believe that Mr. Lang does know about this case, which I was assuming it would be a homeless case, but he believes it's a group home type of thing. I'm going to ask Mr. Lang because I think he has more information.
To answer your first question first, yes, there is a reimbursement for the homelessness transportation, and I can actually, the next time I send out a report on the budget, I can show you what our projection is for the year for that reimbursement, but it actually doesn't relate to this particular case. This is a case of a special education student that is programmatically responsible. The district of Lowell has programmatic responsibility, who is in a group home in another community. And they're actually, so they're placed in that community. It's far more economical for the collaborative that they're attending intending to provide the transportation because they already have buses going back and forth to the route. We're just paying the percentage for our student that we're responsible for to receive the transportation, as opposed to sending a Lowell Public School bus that far out to do the run and then come back to us. So this is a case of a special ed student that we are responsible for doing this, and it's more economical for us to just pay the collaborative because they already have the transportation set up. This isn't a McKinney-Vento homeless transportation case.
Mr. Leary.
Not to beat a dead horse, but, so the reimbursement's still the deductible of whatever, 33, 35, so we're really, whatever the difference is, you're not getting extra money reimbursed other than the regular circuit breaker funds.
No, for this particular child, it would be, if they do qualify for circuit breaker reimbursement, we would receive it that way. They wouldn't qualify for McKinney-Vento. It's a totally different situation.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Entertain a motion to approve. So moved by Ms. Rosicowicz, seconded by Mr. Leary. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Gignac?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Rosicowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Next, we have memorials. Mildred A. Moran, mother-in-law of Bailey School paraprofessional Sue Pelland, and grandmother of the Lincoln School teacher Amanda Rosado. Michael Nestovich, retired Lowell High School teacher. Lillian O. Bazdenese, mother of the LeBlanc School teacher Paul Bazdenese. And Paul David Brousseau, son of the retired clerk Marion Brousseau. If you'd all please rise in a moment of silence and darken chambers. May they rest in peace. Next, we have motions. The first motion by Mr. James Leary. Request the superintendent provide to the school committee a report detailing the current substitute teacher policy. Report should include methods of attracting staff, current salary structure, CORI, and other safety information. In addition, the superintendent should provide recommendations to the school committee on how to attract additional substitute teacher personnel. Seconded by Mr. Gignac. Mr. Leary.
Just quickly, I did have a conversation with the Director of HR, Michael Cassidy. The biggest, there's a lot of concerns, but the first concern that he has is the applicant pool for substitute teachers is a lot smaller than it's ever been. And there's a lot of reasons for it. So I think part of the dialogue we had is really looking for ways of like replenishing that pool and bringing, the most attractive candidates that you can get for that position. One of the reasons is because we have a lot of tutors, and tutors is a more, not accurate, but more of a regular job for folks with a regular rate of pay. Why would you not want to have that in your life? But we talked a lot of different potential recommendations that could come forward. I think this will resolve a lot of concern in our schools. I think there's a lot of other dialogue we can have with this with a motion, and I look forward to seeing recommendations, and hopefully we can come to some type of game plan that's advantageous for our students and for our staff. Thank you.
Mr. Conway.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a good motion. There's been a lot of concern that I've heard from principals, and I think one of the concerns is the fact that they're not able necessarily to pick the substitute that they would like. And I think that certainly in the past, there were certain substitutes that they could plan on in each particular day, and it sounds like they don't have that flexibility. And I think with that report, and I think this report is I'm looking forward to it. But I think also in that report, I'd like to see if there is flexibility for the principal to be able to pick individuals with the certain individuals that they would like to have. And I think that's important, because the principal certainly knows their school, and they know their classroom, and they know the wants and needs of a particular class, and the specific fit for that particular class. So I think there certainly needs to be some flexibility. If there isn't flexibility, I think we need to build that in to the situation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have subcommittee reports. Lowell High School Subcommittee report and approval of the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, October 15, 2013. Mr. Conway.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had at the meeting myself, Mr. Robert Gignac, and Kristen Rosikowicz. Also present were Gene Franco, the superintendent, Claire Abrams, the assistant superintendent, and Brian Martin, the headmaster. And I want to first of all thank Claire Abrams for putting this report together. I appreciate that. There were a number of items on the agenda. The first one was Lowell High School accreditation update, and the headmaster provided the committee with a report on the status of what is actually taking place. And he explained that Amy McLeod, who is the new director of curriculum, along with David Robinson, who's the director of student services, and George Edwards of NEASC, met to discuss the accreditation. And the accreditation team will be visiting Lowell High School in the fall of 2015. And during that particular discussion, they talked about on the release day on the 8th, George Edwards would meet with the high school steering committee members, which is extremely important, those co-chairs and the entire high school staff. And the steering committee is being finalized now, and once appointed, we will review the individual roles and responsibility. And again, this is an incredible undertaking that takes place every 10 years, and we're fortunate that many of these people have already been through accreditations. And I think that the people that, when I've talked to the headmaster, he feels very confident that we have the right people moving this ahead, and he will be giving us an update periodically. As you know, we have a committee, Lowell High School subcommittee meeting scheduled on a regular basis, and the headmaster said that he would bring forward any updates that we have. There was a motion by Ms. Rosikowicz, second by Mr. Gignac, to the committee as a whole to accept the report as a report of progress. The second point that we discussed were the early release days, and back a while ago I put a motion on to ask the superintendent to gather pertinent information that will help guide the school department with the feasibility of an earlier start time to the high school beginning in 2014-2015 school year. The headmaster talked about that, gathering the data, and he's gathering it right now. There are obviously different schools of thought on this. I think that there is, I know that Ms. Martin brought up the fact that in the past that there was data showing that the later the students went to school, the better they would be as far as the tests were concerned. And I think there was also a lot of concern by teachers and by coaches that many of the kids that take classes in that last period, and sometimes even the last two periods, they've missed those, and that data is coming through right now. For example, there's been 11 athletic dismissals involving 5 different programs and a total of 310 student dismissals, and that was up until, I believe, October 4th. So again, the headmaster, not to go through the whole thing here, but the headmaster basically said that he's in the process of gathering the information, and he was very thoughtful about it, and he was going to get as much information as possible. And I think that I was pretty confident, and I think the other members of the committee were confident that we were on the right path of putting everything in front of the committee to let them take a look at it and find out what direction they would like to go, if change it at all. There was a motion by Mr. Gignac and second by Ms. Rosikowicz to recommend the committee as a whole to accept the report as a report of progress. The class size report was the next one. The headmaster provided a very lengthy report on the class size at the high school, And the report was prepared by the Director of Curriculum, Amy McLeod, who went through every classroom to ensure that the numbers were correct and matched the data reports. And I know that last year when many of the committee members were very frustrated because we were trying to find out how many students were in classes, and it seems as though the information wasn't totally complete. And I have confidence that the headmaster and his staff is going to bring that information forward and, again, keep us up to date on our class size, so that when going forward, we can certainly plan for, in our budget, number of teachers that we might need and so forth. Motion by Ms. Rosikowicz, second by Mr. Gignac, recommend the committee as a whole to accept the report as progress. The fourth item, we had 5 items in total. The fourth one was the lobby and the security school safety update, and I think that that's, that was brought forth, I believe, by Mr. Leary. And a while ago, it seems as though this is working out pretty well. I think that things certainly have been tightened up quite a bit. Since the beginning of August, the Lowell High School security team has worked very hard to promote what we would call the best practices for safety and security of the building. The headmaster, Dr. Howe, and Sergeant David Peasley, who happens to be the new SRO, meet each week to discuss ongoing safety issues and to see if anything needs to be updated. So again, the lobby, there is, should we say, a lot more stability there for the people that are manning this lobby. And again, people coming in, it's done in a very professional way, and it's long overdue, and I believe that it is working very well. Mr. Gignac by Mr. Gignac, second by Ms. Rosikowicz, to recommend the committee as a whole to accept the report of progress. And the last point was Lowell High School video. The final topic of the agenda was the viewing of the newest Lowell High School video, and the students who have graduated from Lowell High in the past June appeared on the video, and it was done very well. They shared some of their stories and their rewarding stories, and talking about the positive things that are happening at Lowell High School. And the video is once again one of the many of the positive changes that the headmaster has done to this point, and sharing great stories of Lowell High School. And I think that that's something that quite often we don't do enough, and that is when we're doing something right, I think we need to let the public know what is happening. And I think this video is certainly something that we were very proud of. The video can be seen on Lowell Educational Television Channel 22. And again, there's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm that's taking place there at the high school, and I think we all recognize that. A motion by Ms. Rosikowicz, second by Mr. Gignac, to recommend to the committee as a whole to accept the report as a report of progress. Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Conway, for that brief report, excuse me.
It could have been a lot longer,
Entertain a
Mr. Mayor.
motion. I wouldn't be here for it, though. Entertain a motion to accept as report of progress. So moved by Mr. Gignac, second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? So voted. Next, we have reports of the superintendent. Report on the online bus pass requests. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report was provided to me by Deputy Superintendent Lang with input from the Director of Technology, William Silver. The motion by Ms. Rosikowicz was to request the superintendent work with the Information Technology Department to provide an online mechanism to apply for school bus passes through the Lowell Public Schools website. Mr. Silver has been working on this particular initiative, and I'm going to ask for Mr. Lang to fill in the details for you.
Thank you. Yeah, briefly, this is in response to the motion earlier this fall. to look for some mechanism to be able to, from our district website, actually request a student bus pass be sent to the home. So the Family Resource Center, along with the Technology Department, did work to create a form. Right now, they're testing it. It's technically hidden, and they're just sending requests back and forth, but it should be live right after Thanksgiving. But it'll be a link off the Family Resource Center page, so if parents can go in and input their information, their address, their child's information, school, certain pertinent information. The form will be submitted to the Family Resource Center. It'll then just be someone's job to go in each day, queue up the ticket requests, print a bus pass for the student, and obviously mail it home so they'll receive it the next day. They'll do this every day. The form also will generate an automatic response back to the party that sent the request in so that they know their request has been received and have some information about who to contact for additional information. Most should be, we're hoping, if it would be someone who misplaced a bus pass or didn't get a bus pass that already has a route. In the event that someone actually needs to have a route assigned to them and created, it's a little more complex, there will be information on the form that allow Family Resource Center to personally contact them to find out what they need to fulfill the request. But that will be live right after Thanksgiving and hopefully meets the desire of the group.
Any discussion on this report? Entertain, Ms. Rossick.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you for the speed in which this has been brought forward so that our families can start to access these online services. Thank you.
Entertain a motion to accept this report of progress. So moved by Ms. Rossick, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have a report on the citywide PTO sandbox meeting update.
Yes,
Madam Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The following report came from Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services, Janine Durkin. It was a request by Ms. Kim Scott and Ms. Kristen Rosikowicz that requested me to invite all PTO groups in Lowell to a citywide PTO sandbox meeting. The purpose would be to share ideas that work to increase parent involvement and enrichment of children, to come up with ideas to build PTO involvement in underserved and underrepresented schools. There is a detailed report. I will ask Ms. Durkin to report on it. But along with this particular motion, I am also working on gathering information, which is another motion that Ms. Scott has, on the agenda that I'm working on right now, to get information from each school to see the composition of all the school groups. And so I'm going to ask Ms. Durkin to report about the sandbox, but we are working on finding out what the parent groups are, who the representatives are, and if they are really parent-run, which is, we have found that it is a challenge. So I'll ask Ms. Durkin to report on this, and then I'll welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you. So in order to address this motion, I had District Support Specialist Nancy Crones consult with all the principals in the schools as well as parent liaisons in all of our schools and provided a survey to the staff regarding successful practices in the schools as far as parent groups, parent involvement in PTOs, strategies, challenges, and as well as barriers to getting parents into the schools. So that analysis also took place with the Title I Parent Involvement Evaluation Report. Nancy used that data as well as all of the information garnered from the schools. And as a result of that, we found that there were currently at this time 6 schools that have PTOs that are actually run by parent groups. All of those PTO groups have been contacted, and they have all agreed to participate, and they're pretty excited about sharing their strategies. So they are planning meetings with Nancy Crones at present to develop a forum for this, and we're scheduling out a little bit for March, but we want to make sure that we gather enough information from our own schools as well as research out there so that we can provide the best for our parents going forward.
Thank you. Any discussion on this report? Entertain a motion to accept the report as a report of progress. So moved by Ms. Rossick, seconded by Ms. Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have the quarterly report on motions. Any discussion? Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I welcome the committee to review the items, the motions that are in color, and if there are any motions that you believe need more work, please bring that forward. If not, we would remove them and continue working on others for the next time. But if there's some that you think are not complete, please let us know.
Any discussion? Today, Mr. Gignac.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one issue. In regards to the motion by Mr. Patrick Murphy and myself regarding a 5-year high school, that is checked off as completed. I know you communicated to us that we're going to take a little hold on it due to the transition at the high school. And I understand that. I think a delay in that, it makes perfect sense. But perhaps if we could keep that open so it's not forgotten about, because I think a 5-year high school is something that we do as a district need to explore and continue exploring for the future, just so we can keep it on our radar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gignac. Any further discussion? Entertaining motion to accept as report of progress, so moved by Ms. Rosikowicz, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have the personnel report. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a monthly report of all of the retirements, resignations, and new hires or promotions that have occurred within the last month.
Any discussion? Move to approve by Ms. Martin, second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have home education. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a request by two different families, Caesar Canas and Anthony and Stacy Roski, who would like to homeschool their children. This would bring the total of families who are homeschooling their youth to 28 families. Total number of children would be 45.
Any discussion? Entertain a motion to approve. So moved by Ms. Scott, seconded by Ms. Martin. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Gignac?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Rosikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Next, we have a dropout prevention task force update. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is in response to a motion by School Committee member Kim Scott, who requested that Superintendent implement a dropout prevention task force to provide input on the development of our dropout prevention plan. Ms. Durkin has assembled a group as soon as she came on board in August of 2013. I will ask her to provide the details, as she's been working very closely with this group of people.
Thank you. So I had mentioned at a previous meeting that when this motion came forward, that we had developed, put in place a district attendance and dropout prevention team as a result of analysis of many years of data regarding our attendance and our dropouts. So this district team was convened again on October 10th, and the motion for the Dropout Prevention Task Force was addressed at that time. The team's consensus was that we would expand our group to include members of the community, the Greater Lowell community, to help us in the effort for dropout prevention. At present, our team is involved as members of the DESE Dropout Prevention Working Group. As a matter of fact, a whole team is going to be attending a conference on alternative pathways for students in the next month. So this team is going to expand. We've actually already gotten someone from the Lowell courts to be part of the team. We'll be sending out invitations, and we'd welcome a member of the committee to be part of this task force as well. The task force we're planning at present for the task force to convene beginning in January, and being a sounding board for our district team to share practices and be able to support one another to get the best opportunities for all of our students.
Thank you. Ms. Scott?
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for doing that expansion and including the community partners. This is certainly not an issue that can be handled by the schools themselves, and I'm just very glad that we're working with our partners. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Entertain a motion to accept as report of progress. So moved by Mr. Leary, seconded by Ms. Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have the Lowell High School Fine Arts Report. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is a response to a motion by Mr. Leary requesting the superintendent provide a status report on the fine arts program at Lowell High School. The report should include staffing and upcoming events for 2013-2014 calendar year. Ms. Abrams and the Department Chair of the Fine Arts, Dr. Sharon Clark, have provided this report to us. I want to just begin by telling you that the changes in the fine arts requirements at Lowell High School were, in fact, increased when we signed on as Race to the Top to the Mass Core pieces, so because children have to take an arts course, and so we've been looking strategically at that particular portion, and so more children have been involved in the arts to be able to reach the Mass Core requirements that are in one of the projects for Race to the Top. So that's part of the movement in the student enrollment in arts classes and the rationale. But I will ask Ms. Abrams to fill in the details of the other parts of the motion that are in the report.
Thank you. So what Dr. Clark actually provided for us is a little bit of background of what has happened over the years, beginning in 2011, with the number of teachers, number of students involved in the programs, and the different courses that have been offered. And as you look through the report, you will see from 2011 up until where we are right now, there really has been an increase, as the superintendent has just indicated, in the courses that are offered at the high school. It's still 9 fine arts teachers, but they're picking up and they're doing a lot of different courses for students. And along with the that report is the list of activities that are scheduled throughout this school year and what will be taking place. In addition, at the bottom of the report, the band, the show choir, and the dance ensemble will perform in elementary schools throughout the school year, and they do that holidays and over the course of the year. So I'd like to thank Dr. Clark for this, and if there's any questions, I will take them.
Just
Mr. Leary.
quickly, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the report. I think part of what I'm looking for, too, is really how are we integrating the rest of the Lowell High School community? And not to get into a long discussion tonight, but I'd really like to make a motion to refer this to the Lowell High School Subcommittee for an additional, I'd like to see, Dr. Clark present. I have additional questions I'd like to ask at that time in terms of how are you taking the other academies and the other parts of the high school and helping to really push the fine arts. In particular, we're looking at, the annual event we have as far as the performance we put on. What are we doing to make that really part of the entire high school community? So I put that just so we could refer that for further discussion. Thank you.
Motion by Mr. Leary, seconded by Ms. Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Ms. Martin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to have this go to the Lowell High School Subcommittee so we can discuss it a little bit more. And I think it's something that now is actually a good time for us to be talking about it. As I look at the numbers here, the number of students are participating is going up, which is great, but the percentage is going down, which tells me that we're about to hit a level where students aren't going to be able to access this because we don't have the appropriate number of teachers to provide this service. So I think that's going to be one of the key components as we have this meeting at the high school subcommittee to determine when we if we've hit that tipping point. I suspect we have, but I will certainly need the data to back that up. But I think moving forward, it really, this is an area that is of great interest, I know, to the committee as a whole. And I think I really do appreciate getting this information. I don't recall seeing this ever before, so it's great to see, and I think some continuing discussions are certainly well warranted. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Entertain a motion to accept as a report of progress. So moved by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Next, we have a notice of dedication ceremony for Dr. Wayne R. Peters. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a report from Mr. Lang, that on the May 4th, 2011 regular meeting of the Lowell School Committee, a motion was made and passed to dedicate the library computer lab at Lowell High School in honor of Dr. Wayne R. Peters. Mr. Lang has been arranged for this dedication to occur, and on Saturday, November 16th, 10 o'clock, the dedication will take place at Lowell High School in the library, second floor, in the 1980 building. You can also see an attached invitation, and all have been invited.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to accept this report of progress. So moved by Mr. Leary, seconded by Mr. Gignac. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Under new business, we have permission to post for a part-time Community Learning Centers Program Manager. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next report is a request for permission to post, and I'm going to just give you the feedback. As you have seen over time, we have had increased funding to our 21st century funded school after school. There are 3 approved schools which are after-school programs that are quite comprehensive. This is a request to fund a part-time position to assist the coordinator of special programs with the implementation of this particular program. For your review, and if you have any questions, we will accept those.
Any discussion? Entertain a motion to approve. So moved by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Gignac. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Gignac?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Rosikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Next, on the convention and conference requests, we have 3 requests. I entertain a motion to take those 3 together. So moved by Ms. Rosikowicz, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Entertain a motion to approve all 3. So moved by Mr. Gignac, seconded by Mr. Leary. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Gignac?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Rosikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Next, we have under communications, the Lowell High School receives the MIAA District A Sportsmanship Award. Madam Superintendent?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. DeProfio, Athletic Director at Lowell High School, has informed us that we, as a high school, has received this award for sportsmanship, and the school will be honored at the MIAA Sportsman's Summit on November 22nd at Gillette Stadium. This is just not something that, this is expected. We have a great sportsmanship, and it is a nice feather in our cap as a district in recognition of our students and our coaches. So for your review, and thank you.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to accept and place on file. So moved by Ms. Rosikowicz, seconded by Ms. Martin. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. Under professional personnel, we have the members of the United Teachers of Lowell hereby donate 8 sick leave days to Kristen Colon, a Lowell High School teacher. Entertain a motion to approve. So moved by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leary. Roll call, please.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Gignac?
Yes.
Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Rosikowicz?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
7 yeas, approved.
Entertain a motion then to adjourn. So moved by Ms. Martin, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, so voted. We stand adjourned.